right, friend, we are going to do our next core workout. I don't know if you have a Pilates ball. My kids flattened mine. So I'm going to actually use a pillow, or maybe just a yoga block, because we're gonna pretend we're gonna get creative today. But if you have a Pilates ball, these are awesome. Go on Amazon and you can get a 2-pack for like 15 bucks, and there's so much like core rehab and all the stuff you can do with these. But if you don't have one, just grab a throw, like a small pillow. I'm just gonna pretend this is mine, okay? So that's what we're gonna need today. So I think after what you said about the first, like the video, there's a lot of information to absorb. So I'm thinking that maybe after like the one-to-one session, I would send like a summary of our session. So like a typed out all we talked about, what the homework is, what you're gonna work on. I think that would be helpful. Like all of the core stuff, all of the breathing stuff written out, and then you can refer back to that. And then I'm gonna do a couple videos that are just gonna be like this. It's 5 exercises, 10 times through, and we're going to get harder as we go. So today's video, we're gonna challenge the core a little bit more. So you have been practicing your breath work and connecting to that core, and now you've kind of mastered that core connection. Maybe not mastered it, but you are better at it. You can feel that connection, hopefully. So we can kind of add in some more challenging work for that core. So we start off by taking our arms, legs, and extending them away from our body. That's gonna make it more challenging. And then as we go, we can add resistance, whether we're adding weights, bands, adding in the ball more, we'll add that on. So there'll be 3 videos today. We're just going to use a pillow in a couple of them, keep them pretty basic. We'll work through this, see how you're feeling, and then we'll just kind of go a little bit more challenging. And maybe this workout you do for a couple weeks until you're feeling stronger, and it doesn't mean you have to do them week after week. You kind of have to feel how your body's doing, okay? So we are gonna do, what did I say? We've got 5 exercises today. We're gonna do each one for about 10 reps, and we're just gonna go through that once. Once you know the exercises, you're more than welcome, and I encourage you to maybe go through it 2 to 3 times, like the whole circuit. And yeah, okay, so we're gonna start, like I said, always with our diaphragmatic breath. So we're gonna go into lay on our backs. That's what I'm trying to say here. In that supine position. Knees up, and we're gonna do 10 breaths here. So remember, as we inhale, we're filling that belly, releasing and relaxing that pelvic floor. And then that exhale, blueberry, zip up that core. So just on your own time here, let's do 10 breaths. I'm not talking because I'm trying to help you focus on counting here. I also haven't been counting. So we're just gonna pretend you've done about 8. Keep going till you get to your 10. Remember those cues on that exhale, whether it's doing that zipper from the bottom up, pulling those hip bones together on that string, and making sure we're inhaling and releasing on that inhale, because learning to relax that pelvic floor just as important. All right, so for our first exercise, we are going to bring our arms up, and we are going to drop our left arm. We're gonna keep our feet planted here, okay? So not quite a traditional dead bug where we're up here. We're just gonna keep those feet planted, and we're gonna take an inhale, relax, and on that exhale, we're sliding down. Opposite arm, opposite leg, okay? So seeing how this feels, and if that doesn't feel okay, if we're feeling some pain, discomfort, whatever it may be, we can work on just doing arm extensions from this position, and you could even take your ball and put it between your knees here and squeeze that ball on that arm extension. Sometimes maybe sending those legs out straight especially earlier postpartum. Like you're a few weeks further along, but earlier postpartum, that just might not feel good on that core, especially if we haven't mastered that connection and that deep core engagement yet, okay? So let's go ahead, we're gonna do 10 reps here on each side. So we're going, I'm not even doing it right. Left arm, right leg, sliding them out and bringing them back in. So we're doing 10 on each side. Just slow and controlled, and we're just thinking about that core connection. So we're exhaling as we're extending, inhaling as we're bringing it back in. So I'm on 6 here. So 20 in total, doing 8 on each side. 7. 8. 9. And one more here on each side. Awesome. Okay, so that's our first exercise. The next one we are going into is going to be, we're going to use our pillow here. So it's going to be a palm press. So we've got 2 options here. So if you have your pillow, we're going to put it under our right palm. So the first option, and the easier, kind of less challenging option, we're going to inhale, and on that exhale, we're simply pulling up that pelvic floor, engaging that core, and pressing into that ball or pillow. And then inhaling, release. Pressing, inhale, release. If that feels okay and you want to go a little more challenging with that, we're going to extend that opposite leg, okay? So we press in with that right hand and extend that left leg and bring it back in. But again, if that's not feeling good, we're just simply here in that quadruped or like on all fours, pressing that right hand into that mat or into your pillow, okay? So let's do 10 reps on each side. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. So we take a nice inhale, relax that pelvic floor. On that exhale, engage and press into that block or ball or pillow. And inhale. So let's go 10 times on this side, okay? And again, more challenging, we're extending that opposite leg. Go at your own pace here. Remember, slow and controlled, counting 10 reps. When you get to that 10th rep, we're going to go ahead and switch to that other side. So you, again, I don't want you to rush these. Go at your own pace. After 10, switching it over to that other side, we're doing the same thing. Inhale and relax. Exhale, press into that pillow or whatever we're using. And extend that leg. We're doing 10 reps here. It's okay, it's just for Marianne. I usually have the camera the other way, so when he comes in, it doesn't matter, but tricked you. Inhale in. Exhale, practicing that engagement, pulling up that pelvic floor, engaging that deep core. Which kind you're gonna notice as you're pressing into that block, it's kind of, it's easier to do it because you're adding that pressure. So when we add in the ball, sometimes squeezing between our legs, Those are little movements and additions that are going to help us engage that or that deep core. I have no idea how many reps we're at, but finish your 10, don't rush. Nice deep breaths. See how you're feeling here. Okay, so our next exercise, we're gonna go into a glute bridge. There's a couple options here. We can just go into a regular glute bridge. So we are watching that our heels are under our knees. That's how we're gonna engage those glutes. If they're too far out or too far in, we're gonna hit hammies or quads. We don't want that. We want our heels under our knees. You can kind of take your middle finger, line it up to where your heel is, and that usually will get you in a good position. So with our glute bridge, we're going to take an inhale. We're going to untuck that pelvis. So this is a really good cue here before we go into that bridge. Think about tilting that pelvis, pressing that lower back onto the ground, and then pushing up. Because if you stay in that arched back with that tilt, we're really not engaging what we want to work there. So we are thinking tilt, press that lower back into the floor, and then we pull up, we exhale as we pull up that pelvic floor, engage that deep core, and exhale. Inhale as we come down, and exhale up. Something that might help you with that deep core engagement is grabbing that pillow, ball, whatever we have, putting it between our knees, and then on that lift, we squeeze those knees together just gently, okay? We don't want to be putting so much pressure that we're like shaking or it really hurts. We're just adding that little bit of resistance that kind of cues us and will help us engage that deep core. So we're gonna go ahead and do 10 here. So remember, tilting that pelvis, pressing that lower back into the mat. We're gonna take an inhale, and on that exhale, we're gonna go into that bridge, and then slowly lower back down. And we're doing 10 here. Inhale down, exhale up. Practicing that breath, practicing that deep core engagement. We sound like a broken record, but this is just the base, the foundation of everything when we get back into those bigger workouts. If you can, don't drop your hips right to the ground, even just staying at that hover. Inhale down, exhale, hips up. And then when you're finished your 10, you can come back up to that seated position. Remember, I should have went over our tips at the beginning. We're not jackknifing up, we're rolling to the side, using that hand to press us up, which I probably have not been doing because I'm terrible at that. But remember, workouts, getting out of bed, getting off the couch, whatever it is, do not do that jackknifing. That is one thing that is not going to help us repair our core. And also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the first video, holding your breath through any exercise. That is going to add that extra pressure, pushing apart. We don't want that. We want in, not out. So if a move is hard, like a push-up even, and you're pushing up and holding your breath, it's putting that pressure on that core that we don't want. So we're always exhaling as we go into that hard part of the exercise, okay? Next move, we're going to do some clam presses. This is the last exercise. We're going to do it once on each side. So we're going to come onto our side. We're going to take our pillow or ball, whatever we have here. Inhale and relax. Exhale into that clam. We're just lifting that leg and back down. So we'll go ahead and do 10 on this side. As we progress, we can kind of go up into these clams, but we can just keep our hips on the floor for this. And we're focusing on pressing into that pillow, okay? So big inhale. Exhale for that clamshell. So in this workout, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've worked kind of on our backs in that all four position and on our sides. So we want to be working that core in all different positions. finish up your 10. You might be there yet. I can't count and talk at the same time. And then switch over to the other side, okay? So taking this workout, still working on those breaths, those diaphragmatic breaths, daily when you can, and then adding in this core work maybe 3 times a week will be awesome. We're just gonna slowly build that core strength back up before we get into our workouts. And I think in the program, what I might do is add in some stretching and mobility with the second session of even the core, because that is a huge thing. I know when you're feeding bottles, nursing, rocking baby, sleeping with baby, we get very sore and tense in a lot of our shoulders, that upper body. So adding some stretching in that we can do with our core work, since we're down here on the ground, we might as well add a couple stretches in as well, to kind of open up that chest. So I'm thinking I might add that in as well with that. But if you're done your 10, that's it for today. So try to get through those. If you're feeling good, if last week's or last time's exercises, those 4 that we were doing, were feeling good, you're confident, move on to these, do these for a couple weeks. And then next week or next time, next round through, I'll add in some weights, maybe some resistance bands, some more tension on that core, and we'll get it stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.